Hi, Terry here again. It's been a while since I've made a video for a pretty simple reason. I didn't feel like I had that much to say as I've been going through several months of pondering and wondering and doing some struggle, I would call it, but some growing pains, let's say, for a while. But I read something this morning that really piqued my interest, that really is making a difference in my life, even today. And I read it in the Center for Action and Contemplation's daily email, which I commend to you, by the way. I'll make a note in the description and suggest you consider receiving that. But it's talking about radical awe as a vital part of spirituality and continuing our lifelong growth into deeper stages and seasons of spiritual growth. And if you're like I am, see, I grew up in Protestant denomination, went to Protestant-based seminaries for 8 years, and received very little training in contemplative prayer or meditation, much to, I believe, my detriment, or it put a glass ceiling in my spirituality. It's very hard to continue growing spiritually, encounters with God, with divinity personally, without some form of contemplative prayer or meditation, and without training for that in our churches and higher education, focused on religion, whatever. It's very difficult to continue with that. So I rely on others in this season of my life. And quote from Rabbi Danya Ruttenberg. I hadn't read her before, but she emphasizes a special awe as vital for our spirituality. And I think this is a discipline or a practice that is accessible to all of us, even contemplatively deprived folks, let's say. So it's something very simple, but something that is very effective strangely effective in our continued growth. Rabbi Ruttenberg quotes quite a bit, or talks of theologian Abraham Heschel. I've read Heschel before, a wonderful 20th century rabbi and theologian who wrote a lot about radical amazement. I don't think about spirituality in terms of radical amazement. He calls it that sense of wow about the world. Sense of wow. Rather than sense of disdain or sense of stain or sense of corrupted or broken, just a radical sense of wow. And he claimed that is the root of spirituality. And I've read other mystics say the same thing. Root of our spirituality, of our deepening spiritual growth, is a radical wow. It's the kind of thing that people often experience in nature, at the proverbial mountaintop, when walking in the woods, seeing a gorgeous view of the ocean. I've experienced those times, I trust you have as well, where time just seems to stop for a moment and just radical wow. Then she goes on. But it's also, I think, about bringing that sense of awe into the little things we often take for granted. Radical wow in our daily lives. Things that we consider part of the background of our lives. This includes, she says, the flowers on the side of the road, the taste of ice cream in our mouths, or to find a really, really good stick on the ground. I love that phrase. To find a really, really good stick on the ground. And it also includes things we generally don't even think of as pleasures, like the warm, soapy water on our hands as we wash dishes. It's noticing. It's stopping, finding radical awe. So I read that early this morning, and then been practicing that just in the hour since. For example, went to our athletic club, which we call a health club because we're decidedly not athletic. But anyway, at the health club and walking around the track and just noticing the breeze, the air-conditioned breeze on my arms, and the feel of it, the coolness of it, and such an ordinary time. Or there was another time at the club that my wife and I were struggling heroically trying to stand on one leg without wobbling. Then we looked over and we call her the flamingo girl because she was skinny girl standing on one leg with the other leg tucked behind her, not wobbling, not anything, just like we've seen flamingos do. And just seeing that stillness and radical awe at that she could actually do that. Or just looking out my window here where we have some tall grass and there's a slight breeze to it, and just watching the grass slowly move back and forth. Radical awe. Time just stops for a moment. And then there was a time this morning when one of our cats was on the desk right next to me here. And just, I scratched her without thinking behind the ears and kind of rubbed her down a little bit, but then actually stopped and felt the fur and stilled my hand and felt that rumble of her purr. And just again, things stopped. I wasn't thinking about what had happened before. I wasn't planning what was going to come. I wasn't putting all kinds of imagination to it. Or just a few minutes ago when I was taking a sip of my mint tea, to actually taste it, to feel the heat. I can feel it now, just to feel the warmth of the cup, or to smell the mint in it, and just taking a moment. Spiritual practice of radical wow. I commend it to you today, maybe right this moment. Just look at something and just, in a sense, lose yourself in it or be amazed by it. Things that we don't notice over and over in our day, and to treat that as a spiritual practice. I would say a key spiritual practice. Living in the radical now, even for a moment at a time. And perhaps with practice, by doing that over and over again, the radical wows will multiply until, wouldn't it be something if most of our day would be filled with radical wow. Have a great day. Talk to you the next time.